What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar with C-Zar Gets Crypto, and we are talking about Bitcoin today. We're on the Coinbase chart. Let's go to the all-time index, actually. All-time history index. And I made a video talking about this, I don't know if it was last week or the week before. Maybe it was the week before that even, but let's do BTC halvings. Everyone's talking about the halving all the time, right? And I think if we're going to talk about the halving, being that this is the fourth halving we've ever had, I think that it's important to kind of notice what happened during the other halvings, right? It's crazy, man. It used to be 50 Bitcoins per block reward. Then it was 25, which is still nuts. Then it was 12.5, which is still nuts. And now it's getting reduced down to 3.125 in April, sometime in April, probably the beginning of April. Nobody knows the exact date. There's people who have it pinpointed, but as we get closer, that always changes. Anyways, the first halving happened in November 28th of 2012. I'm sorry. This is the all-time history. Type in BTC on TradingView, BTC USD, and you go to the index, right? All-time history index. That's the title. November 28th of 2012. Well, here it was 2012. You can see down here, right, the date marker. November itself, it was on the 28th day of November, so I would say really if we were to assume like where it was December, basically this month that we were there. But we can we could even go on a weekly basis if we want, but maybe not. I'm just going to keep it on here. Back to November, right? It was this month, but it was 2 days away from December, so regardless, they're both kind of the same months. But what happened after the halving? Well, not really much. We had 7.5% of a move up the following month, right? The Santa Claus rally, the end of the year rally that everyone talks about, how good December is, and it generally is a good month. I mean, we could go through and even see that, like, just real quick. Here, December was a green month. December in 2012 was a green month. December in 2013 was a red month, and 2014 was also a red month. Okay, so it's 1 for 1. It's red for red. And then you got green, and then you got, where is it? Another green. And then you've got another green. That's a lot of greens, man. It's nice to see. And you got a red. And then you got another red. As soon as I started saying good things. I think it's just one green over the reds now. 2 greens over the reds. And here we go. We're finishing it up, I promise you. 1 green over the red, and then the last one that we had, it was just, oh wow, it's tied, very much tied. So as bullish as December is, it doesn't have to be bullish, right? It really doesn't have to be. Everyone talks about it being one of the better months, and it's like we just looked through it all very quickly, mind you. That's not what the point of this video is, but the main thing that I want to address is what happens after the halving. And so far on the first iteration back in December 2012, nothing. We pumped up 7.5% in a month's time, a little bit over a month's time. And then we continued to go higher. Then we really kicked this bull rally off. The next halving happened in July 9th of 2016. So July 9th, where are we at? July, right here, this month. And then the next month, we actually had a red month. And the following month, we also had a very neutral month. 2 months in a row, we had below 10% from open to close price movements. And then on the third month, we had a 14% move. But we really didn't start to move, did we, until like basically over here. Like we crept up a little bit, sure. I guess arguably we started to move up. It would have been 1, 2, right? Because that's August. 1, 2, 3, 4. On the 5th month is whenever we started to creep up. So here, on the very first time, it was 2 months after the halvings month, right? So November 1, 2, or if you wanted to count it as December, it could just be 1 month. But then here it was 5 months, so 1 to 5 months so far. The last halving that we had was in May of 2020, and that happened, right? That was right here. Right here. And what happened after the halving? Well, we had another red month, but it was kind of a neutral month, right? 1 month of neutrality. Another month we moved up 24%, but then we were kind of stagnant for the next couple months, hanging out around the previous like closing highs, and then we moved up. So really we were kind of neutral for like 1 2, 3, 4, and then on the 5th month we moved up. So that's 2 times that on the 5th month we moved up, once on the 1st month. So in between about 1 to 5 months, less than half a year, but at this point I'd say likely more than a quarter of a year after the halving before things really start to take off. Now, I don't think it'll take more than a quarter of a year before we find our low prior to the halving, right? I think that we already have our low here, and I think that if we're moving down right now, we're in this downtrend, I think that we will find our low point of this downtrend well before the halving actually happens. But before we start to turn up, it'll probably be like a month to 5 months, right, after the halving. The halving happens in April. Okay, so whenever I say it really starts to turn up, that doesn't mean that we have to go lower until April. We could go higher. We could go up here, and then April we could just chill for a little bit, and then come like September, we could start to turn up again, right? And then that's like the real rally itself, right? This overall thing, from this low here to this higher low to this higher low, right? The bull market arguably started back here, but you had bouts of rallies, right? Here's when your rally happened, and it didn't happen right after the halving. I mean, more or less it happened right after the halving, but it happened within a 5-month stint. That's when this real rally started to take off, and that's really what I want to talk about first and foremost. Okay, so 5 months, let's just say 1 month afterwards, right? 1 month after April would be May of 2024. 5 months would be September, right? May, June, July, August, September. Yeah, it would be September of 2024. So it could be a whole nother year before things in crypto really get exciting. I'm not saying that we're going to just move sideways and be totally boring, but we're not going to have this kind of like excitement that we're used to for probably about a whole nother year, if not just under that, but definitely likely more than half a year. We will have moments of volatility, moments of excitement, sure, but nothing that's stupendous going to bring us to the heavens probably for at least a half year, if not more likely toward a year from now. Something else I wanted to address without these damn lines still on here is that, in 2012's halving, sorry, 2012's halving in November, right? It was this month here, toward the end of November, so this closing point I think is fine. We were at $12.57. From the all-time high at that point, we actually were only, or more, not only, we were 60% away from the top, from the all-time high. The next halving happened in July of 2016, right? I believe that's what it was, which is over here. And that was toward the beginning of July. This is where we will hop onto the weekly to get a more appropriate number thrown in there. It was what day? Let's see, July 9th, 2016. July 9th. That would be this week here. So July 9th, 2016. We'll go by the closing of that week. So from here, from the top to there, from that previous all-time high there to where we were for the halving date, we were 47% away. Okay, so 47.6. The first one was 60% on the dot. Okay, the next one happened in May of 2020. And what day was that in May? That was May 11th, 2020. May 11th, May 11th, we're going down there. Okay, May 11th, right here. And it was at the open was May 11th actually. So we're gonna take that open there. 55.9, we'll call it 56% away from the halving. So you've got 3 instances where you've been at least, if not more than, 47% away from the previous all-time high. Where are we now? If we're looking at this all-time high, and mind you, we've experienced one of the more mild bear markets that we've ever seen. So I would think that we might end up being closer than some of these. We might even end up being the closest that we've ever been. But let's just see, pre-halving, right now we're at about a 62% drop. Okay, where would a 47% drop take us? 47%, that's the smallest one we've seen, right? It was 47.6 actually, 47.6. So 47.09 would be the smallest one. That would keep us at about $36,500. Okay, grand kind of scheme to like wrap it up. $36,500. is where, if not likely, statistically speaking, which is only 3 iterations. This is our 4th one, so we don't have a whole lot to go off of here. And being, again, that this is the most mild bear market we've ever experienced, in my opinion, it's definitely the most mild. It might not be the most mild economic times. I think, on a world level, things are a lot worse. But for Bitcoin, this is the most mild bear market that we've ever seen. Followed by, of course, the most mild bull market that we've seen. So that, I feel like that's appropriate. But 47%, if not lower, is where we would be by the halving, by April. So all these people calling for 40K by the end of the year, 50K, new all-time highs by the halving. Like, get out of here, man. It's probably not going to happen. Probably not going to happen. In fact, I would stand firm in believing that by the end of the year, we will likely not even be above 35K. Likely not. We are going to continue to move down throughout the end of this year. We'll probably have some life toward the end of the year to like rally us back out, but we might be at the same price by the time the end years. By the time the year ends, we might be at the same price. We might be $1,000 or $2,000 higher, but I don't think that we're going to be $10,000 higher by the end of this year. No, that price will come in likely sometime at the end, if not the end of the first quarter, the beginning or the end of the second quarter of next year, somewhere in that time. And then from there, it'll take how long, to continue this wrapping? We're just continuing to wrap it up in a nice bow. How long will it take from there before we actually start to turn up, right? Before things actually start to make like bigger strides? It could take 1 to 5 months. Okay, so let's do this here real quick. Vertical line in April. Right? Probably the beginning of April is when the halving's going to happen. So that by then we'll probably see price being around 36 to 37K, somewhere around there, if not lower. Statistically speaking, likely lower, but I would think that we'd probably be closer to this, if not even potentially, we could be higher, but I would think below 40K, okay, somewhere around there. And then it'll take us about 1 to 5 months before we actually start to turn up. And what I mean by actually start to turn up is like seeing months that are more than 15% green or more than 10% green at least, right? Something that's not a neutral month. 20% months, 30% months, bigger than that, whatever. We're not going to see months like that until at least 5 months after the halving, which just happens to be what, let's see, September, right? The beginning of September, let's say, right there. So we have this window of stagnation likely, where we'll probably be creeping up. We'll go down, we'll go up, but we'll have this like slow creep up, if not just moving sideways at this probable area here, right? Somewhere around here, around like 38 or 39K maybe to 36K, right, is what it was. Maybe even a little bit lower than that, potentially lower than that. But we'll be like in this range for the better part of like maybe like 2 quarters, something like that, of a year. And then after that, we'll start to move up. So what I'm getting to, the grand picture, is that Bitcoin itself, you guys, will likely not be above 40K until this time next year. Until this time next year. It's worth 26K right now. Everybody's ready for it to go to 100K by the end of 2024. But again, by this time next year, I don't even think we're going to be halfway there. We're not even going to, maybe halfway there would be optimistic in my opinion. Halfway there would be all the way up here on the scale. And that just fitting in with everything that we've seen so far, I think that's statistically unlikely to happen. I think that more likely what's going to happen is we're going to be near about anywhere from about like 34 to 40K, probably lower than 40K, probably maybe a little bit above 34K, somewhere around there. And then we'll move sideways, we'll move stagnant, we'll do like whatever, and then once the halving happens, more stagnation for a month to 5 months, maybe it's shorter, maybe it's longer, and then we'll finally start to move up and kick things off. And unfortunately, at the earliest, that would be sometime in May of next year, if not more likely the latter half of next year. And that's not again, to make things clear, I feel like I can be confusing at times. I don't mean to be, I'm sorry. I know what I'm trying to say. I just don't know if I'm saying it right. But what I'm trying to say is that doesn't mean that the price is going to drop until May, until September of next year. No. I think we will be at higher prices by then for sure. But it's just not going to ascend to the heavens like it does toward the end of its bull market, right? If the bull market starts at the low, everybody defines it differently. Some people, I got a buddy in the Discord. Who is it actually? what's the name? I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on your name, bro. I'm sorry. Smooth Operator. Smooth Operator. You know, he wouldn't define us as being in a bull market right now because, you know, we're not doing bullish things. We're not in a bull rally at all. We're actually going down. We're in a downtrend. I consider this to be a bull market because we found our bear market lows, and I'm just like a one-way street. You know, bull market started here. Oops, that was a bad circle to draw. Bull market started here and then it ended here. Bear market started here and then it ended here. That's how I do it. Some people would argue that the bull market ended over here, and then we were kind of moving sideways for a little bit. We had a bull rally, but that's not a bull market. And then the bear market started here and it ended here. It didn't end here because then we started to move sideways, and we've kind of just been moving sideways since then. But you know, tomato, tomato, potato, potato, however you want to define it. I don't think that we're going to be going lower until next year. I don't think that. I just think that we're going to meander. We're in a crab market, if anything. If we can't agree on what a bull market and a bear market is, we can at least agree that we're in a crab market and we're moving sideways. Probably doing stuff like this, right? Probably doing stuff like this over here, right, where we're waiting, and then after the halving we will start to get some serious moves. We will start to get some serious moves to the upside, but it's going to take time. It's going to take time. It's going to bore people out. A lot of people are excited, are drawn to the fact that the halving is happening. But again, as we've gone over, it can be as much as 30 days, if not more. It can be, what would that be, 150 days, right? 30 times 5? 150 days before we see price action really starting to take off. And that doesn't mean, again, that doesn't mean that it's going to just drop in that time frame. It'll probably creep sideways and move up a little bit, but it won't really start to take off until about this time next year is my expectation. I would bet, and I'm just saying the same stuff over and over again to really drill it in the head here, because I feel like I do get confusing with my words sometimes, so I try to make it clear. I would bet that by this time next year, Bitcoin will not be above 45K. It just won't be. That's my overall prediction for this, and that's not crazy. That's literally what we've seen historically. That would be kind of bullish even to actually put it like that. But I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. We'll see how this ages. Take care, everybody. If you like the video, leave a thumbs up, subscribe to see more, and I will see you on the next one. Bye bye.